to get your revenge. You blew up 100,000 civilians. Someone asked you. You could have chosen a better way for revenge. Why did you have to do this? But you asked back, then why didn't you just stand and let me kill you?
Clearly.
As long as you officials and big families die, those 100,000 people could continue to live in peace. Why didn't you just die calmly? To protect the city with your lives? You'd even be called heroes afterwards. This time you crossed into a young man's body. Your task is to find the killer of his parents and avenge them. This is a post-nuclear wasteland world. People live inside fortified cities. Outside is a world of radiation and mutant beasts. In this world, people are divided into different classes. The rich live in the inner city, while the poor live in the outer city. There are also those who can't even enter. They live in shacks built right against the walls. Perhaps due to the radiation, people in this world have a tiny chance to awaken superpowers. If the awakened power is strong enough, they can instantly cross classes. Of course, having powers isn't everything. Many high-ranking big shots in the inner city don't have powers either, but their status is still higher than the awakened. After all, even the strongest need to eat and drink, and can't withstand the wilderness radiation. As long as the awakened obey, houses and resources in the city are easy to get, and kicking a disobedient one out of the walls is just a matter of a single word. Besides that, every city has a special department for superpower events, called the Superpower Bureau. The original host was named Yang No-bo. He luckily awakened electromagnetic powers, but he was still young back then. After awakening his power,
His parents told him,
this is an extremely strong power. Don't expose it before fully mastering it. We'll slowly teach you how to control it. Then our whole family can rely on this power to enter the inner city. Unfortunately, before they could teach him to fully master it, they just died. His parents were killed by an awakened. A single slash easily cut both their throats. When Yang Mo got the news and arrived, the bureau staff were cleaning up the scene. His parents were already covered with white cloths, being loaded onto the corpse van. But Director Zhao at the scene said, judging from the traces here, their passing was just an accident. When they were just passing by, they got caught in an awakened fight and were hit in the neck by stray blade aura. Just like that, overnight, he went from a happy kid to an orphan. Luckily, his uncle took him in. His uncle and aunt treated him very well, almost like their own son. However, in the following years, he never stopped asking the bureau about the killer. But every time, he only got from the bureau's front desk a totally cold answer. No results. Until one time, angered by the bureau's attitude, his power went out of control. That Director Zhao showed up again.
He lectured him on the city's rules,
The dangers of abusing powers, and the punishments for causing damage. But actually, Yang Mo didn't care about these. But finally, Director Zhao said, if you cause serious consequences, your uncle's family will be kicked out of the city. These words hit his weak spot. His uncle's family were his last relatives. They were not awakened. Being kicked out meant certain death. He couldn't harm them. And Director Zhao also felt he had grasped Yang Mo's weak spot. Every time Yang Mo came to ask about the killer, Zhao would threaten him with his family and brainwash him. Your power is very dangerous. Don't make trouble. Don't disrupt the city's stability. Hurting someone costs money and brings punishment. Think more about your family. Whatever you do, they will pay for it. So after long-term brainwashing, Yang Mo was no longer proud of his power, began to hide it, and lived cautiously. But one day, his cousin was harassed by an inner-city rich kid. Yang Mo stepped in and argued with him. Then the angry rich kid attacked him with powers, though he also had powers. Due to years of brainwashing, he dared not use his full strength at all, nor launch a powerful counterattack. He just passively blocked and dodged. But the rich kid attacked without any restraint. Every move was ruthless, aiming to take his life. But there's no perfect defense in this world. Eventually, he made a slip, was hit in a vital spot by mistake, and just died. Seeing their beloved nephew lose his life protecting their daughter, his uncle and aunt naturally wouldn't let it go. Yang Mo's soul just watched as his uncle and aunt's family tried hard to get justice for him. But suppressed by the others' money and status, it all ended up with nothing. When he saw that although the rich kid killed someone, He panicked for a while, but ended up totally fine in the end. Still swaggering in his normal life, he couldn't help but fall into deep confusion. He felt he had been fooled. He didn't know what went wrong. So he issued this task to the Transmigration Bureau. And you readily accepted it. However, his wish was not to get revenge on that rich kid, but to stay away from the Superpower Bureau, stop listening to their brainwashing, find his parents' killer, and avenge them. The system said with mixed feelings. Whether alive or dead, he only wanted to find his parents' killer, and didn't even hate that rich kid much. You fell into a brief silence after hearing this, understanding that he was right. Though he was foolish when alive, he sobered up after death, because he went to the Bureau again and again to ask about the killer. He would be brainwashed over and over. As for that guy from the Bureau, was he wrong? He indeed fulfilled his duty, but he turned a spirited youth into someone inferior and cowardly. After all, which little boy growing up has never gotten into a fight? But many parents would nag. Behave at school and don't fight. If you hurt someone, we'll have to pay. Our family is poor. If we don't have money to pay, the police will lock you in prison. Then you'll have no school and end up in jail. If you end up out there, no one's gonna give you food, even if you beg. Once a kid starts thinking like this, they'll get weak when facing conflict. In a group of kids who don't yet know right from wrong, the weaker ones get bullied more, bullied outside. And when they come home, parents just assume they've been fighting again. So they get nagged all over again. And so a vicious cycle starts. Kids who grow up in that environment either grow up insecure and timid, or end up as people pleasers. You may not have been one of those kids, but you get how it works. Even though that rich kid killed the original host's body, the one who really killed him, mentally, was Director Zhao from the Ability Bureau. He doesn't care which kid grows up to be what. All he thinks is, that's one more dangerous psychic I just kept under control. He kept things calm and stable, just doing his part to help this so-called harmonious society. You didn't mention the host's wish, but you still don't like him much. You're not going out of your way to mess with him. But if he comes after you, that's a whole different story. But since the host didn't want to be brainwashed anymore, you've decided to go all out this time. Good thing you're great at that. This time you crossed over. 2 years after the host's parents died, right as you're entering the Ability Bureau again, that leader, Director Zhao, tried to brainwash you right away. He threatened you with your uncle's family, but you didn't even bother to listen. First, you checked your psychic powers, and as soon as you had a handle on them, you split the desk in front of you right in half, turned it around and threatened him instead. If it weren't for my uncle's family living in this city, I'd have tossed him already. You think you're protecting my uncle? It's always been them protecting you. So since you're being straight with me, I'll be honest too. It's been ages, and your bureau hasn't even found a clue about the killer, let alone catching them. Not only that, but you won't let me investigate myself. I doubt your abilities, and I doubt your motives. From now on, I'll look into it myself. You people better stay out of my way. And don't mess up my plans. Everything you're saying to me today, I take as a threat against my family. If anything happens to my uncle's family, if they're ever in danger, I'll blame it all on you. Even if he just trips walking down the street, I'll still see it as your bureau using powers to trip him up. And if that happens, I promise, you'll be the first one to pay for it. I'll show you what a real lunatic is. Did you get all that? When you said all this, you didn't hide your powers at all. Using your psychic field to pin Director Zhao firmly to his chair. Once you're done talking, you can't be bothered to stick around. So you blast open the office door and swagger right out. After you leave, the psychic field pinning Zhao disappears. And only then does he collapse into the chair, gasping for air. Looking at the mess you left, his face is stone cold, and he starts thinking about your situation and power.
He was made director of the Ability Bureau here.
Partly because of his connections. But he's definitely not weak. His power level just broke into B rank last week. Not the strongest in the bureau. But as director, power level is just a nice touch. He almost never gets into fights now. Since he's a director already, no need to put himself at risk every day. Otherwise, what's the point of working so hard to climb up here? If he still had to put his life on the line, then what was it all for? But with the power he has, he couldn't even fight back against you. He can tell. If you tried to fight with powers, you could have finished him off easily. Thinking of that, he curses under his breath. He used to totally trust me. So who triggered him this time? Meanwhile, you've already gotten home. And you start going over clues about the killer. It's pretty clear. Director Zhao definitely knows something. Otherwise, he wouldn't both avoid investigating and lie to the host. Is it really just to keep things stable and avoid any trouble? Just to keep his own job safe? No way is that simple. So what is he afraid of? Could it be there's more to the parents' death? Then it hits you. The host's parents were killed with a knife. So, you ask the system to hack into the Ability Bureau database and look for psychics who are good with knives. See which of them could slice through two people's necks at once. The system is pretty fast, pulling together all the known facts from the host's memory. And after a quick search, it comes up with one name Hunter Blade. Also pulls up his profile. 5 years ago, he started working for a boss in inner city called Jingcheng Consortium as a bodyguard. Looking at those files, you frown, not getting how the host's parents got mixed up with someone like that. As far as you know, the host's parents didn't have powers. They were both well-educated and worked in inner city, but lived in outer city. Compared to most outer city people, they just made more money. But that's about it. Working, coming home, cooking every day, whenever they had free time. They'd teach the host some real-life physics beyond the textbooks. Life stayed simple and routine. They really shouldn't have met anyone like that. No matter how much you think about it, you decide to find a way into inner city and track down this hunter. If he doesn't cooperate, you can always hit him with a railgun first, then force him to talk. But just as you're getting ready to go, you suddenly hear your aunt calling outside the door, telling you to come eat. You answer her, acting just like the host would. Open the door and walk into the living room. But as soon as you step out, you see a woman you don't recognize. Your uncle is talking to her with a smile, but she's only giving him half-hearted replies. With your psychic sense, you instantly realize she's a psychic too. But you pretend not to know and ask your uncle who she is.
He says.
She's from the Ability Bureau, sent because someone dangerous might be hiding nearby. And she'd be living with you for a while. Hearing this, your eyebrows instantly furrowed. After all, just today you showed power beyond B level and made it clear you're going to start investigating your parents' death. The Health Bureau immediately sends someone to your house. It has to be that Director Zhao's doing. And that so-called dangerous person, 80% just came to test you. But with your family around, you didn't lash out right there. You just nodded quietly, then sat down at the table to eat. That's when the woman named Lin Zhu looked disgusted and said, "Is this what you eat all the time? No wonder you're just some low-class people from the outer city. Even the pigs at our cafeteria eat better than you." As soon as she said that, everyone at the table froze for a second. Uncle was the first to react. He forced a smile and said, "It's all last minute today. Didn't have time to prepare much. Starting tomorrow, we'll try to cook nicer meals." Lin Zhu just sneered with disdain. She wanted to mock you more, but the moment she opened her mouth, she stopped suddenly. At the same time, the ring on her left hand kept getting tighter. She could even feel the cracking of her finger bones under the pressure. She quickly looked your way. Right then, even though you looked expressionless at her, your eyes clearly said, "This is all me." Then you let go of the ring and coldly kept eating. If he can't eat this food, just stop preparing food for him. Let him find his own place to eat. Seeing that, your aunt hurried to smooth things over. "Oh, come on now. What's with you, kid? Guests are guests. How can you just not feed someone?" After all that, Lin Zhu just shut up. Didn't say another word. She quickly took off the ring, now back to normal, and tossed it right on the floor, shooting you a look full of hate. Then, biting down the pain, picked up her bowl. Just a moment ago, in a split second, her finger bones actually cracked. The next few days, you were out early and back late, running everywhere, using your electromagnetic powers to sync with the city's magnetic field. Sure, you could unleash your power and cover the whole city, but that's only temporary. If you're not keeping the field open, there's a lot you just can't do. But after syncing with it, Your powers totally merge with the city's magnetic field. You can use your power to show up anywhere instantly. But on this day, when you got home, just as you reached the door, you heard Lin Zhu's annoyed voice again. Walking into the living room, the first thing you saw was a broken plate and fruit scattered all over the floor. Lin Zhu sat on the sofa, talking sarcastically. Your uncle and aunt just stood aside, totally defeated, just sighing and sighing, not daring to say a word. Seeing all this, your face turned cold instantly, thinking, have I been too nice lately? Did she really forget her place? Seriously, what was Director Zhao thinking? Sending someone this clueless over? Right then, you pointed at Lin Zhu and said coldly, kneel down and apologize. The moment Lin Zhu heard that, she exploded. She yelled, what did you just say? Do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like that? You kept your cool and answered, I don't care who you are. You kneel now, or you might not walk again. If you don't kneel today, you'll be kneeling for the rest of your life. Believe it or not, right as you finished speaking, a huge lightning bolt struck outside. The flash was out there, but Lin Zhu could feel a jolt of electricity hit her out of nowhere, dropping her to the floor in one move. You just repeated yourself, like I said. Kneel and apologize. This time your words hit Lin Zhu even harder than the lightning did. Finally, she just broke, using her hands to bend her legs, managing to get herself into a kneeling pose, crying as she apologized. Seeing this, your uncle and aunt just panicked. Worried, they tried to help her up, but you stopped them with a wave, then sat down on the couch and silently stared at Lin Zhu. Lin Zhu kept crying as she took out her communicator and started calling someone, no idea who. You, on the other hand, took out a coin and flicked it over and over.
10 minutes later.
Director Zhao rushed in from outside. Didn't need anyone to explain. One look at the mess and he got it. Almost exactly what he expected. You just gave him a cold look, helped Lin Zhu up, and cut him off before he could speak. Director Zhao, you sent someone this clueless to my house. Was it to piss me off on purpose? Well, congrats. You got what you wanted. You managed to kill off what little patience I had left for your bureau. Now get this idiot out of here. Director Zhao glanced over, looking complicated. He wanted to say something but didn't. All he could do was sigh, grabbed the crying Lin Zhu and left. But then you spoke again. Director Zhao, I said get out. He froze for a second, tried to say something, but you cut him off without mercy. I never take back my words.
Ever.
You can walk out, or I can help you leave. You said that, then went back to flicking your coin. Director Zhao watched you flicking that coin, noticing the little sparks on your fingers. His face just kept changing. Finally, he glanced nervously at the coin, then turned to glare hard at Lin Zhu, who crouched on the floor, hugging her knees. Then she actually started rolling slowly, all the way out the door. Lin Zhu was too shocked to even cry. She just stared, mouth wide open, feeling a cold chill run down her body. Once Director Zhao left with Lin Zhu, and the two of them were out of your house, he got into the car and sat him back, just closed his eyes, totally silent, his chest rising and falling hard, letting everyone know how pissed he was. Lin Zhu didn't dare make a sound. She just had to bottle up all her frustration. She thought she was the victim, calling the bureau in tears. But after Director Zhao came over, he had it even worse. Now she's actually worried. Director Zhao's so pissed off. He might take it out on her next. She was so anxious thinking about it. She could never forget the way Director Zhao glared at her. That look is burned into her mind. It was just too scary. Lost in thought. He started feeling sorry for himself again. He really didn't do anything wrong. He just made a few comments, that's all. Yang Mo is seriously overreacting. And while Lin Zhu was still fuming by herself, Director Zhao opened his eyes. And through the car window, he spotted two people in black coats, getting into a plain-looking car. Only then did he tell the driver to go. Their car drove ahead, while the plain car waited a bit, then blended into traffic too. The reason he just took the risk, even knowing you could crush him easily, to save Lin Zhu all by himself, wasn't because he cared much about his staff, but because Lin Jia was backing Lin Zhu. Without Lin Jia, would he waste time on something so minor? Definitely not worth his attention. But he didn't expect to end up totally humiliated this time. So back at the bureau, Director Zhao gathered everyone with a scowl. He issued a series of orders. First, he listed your psychic level as a high risk. Second, he ordered a probe into your abilities.
Third,
He wanted them to check recent irregularities around you and who you've been in contact with to see if anyone might have influenced you, which made you suddenly stronger and changed your behavior. Finally, for Linzu's failure, he suspended her pay and job, stopped all benefits, and set her return date as TBD. Linzu was totally stunned after hearing this. She figured she might get some backlash, but didn't think it'd be this fast. Director Zhao actually announced it right in front of everyone, leaving her no dignity at all, not even a shred of face left. Meanwhile, at home, you sensed all 4 people in those cars had left. You just gave a cold snort and slipped the coin into your pocket. A bureau director at B level? Linzu, who isn't even B level. Even together, they wouldn't stand a chance against you. You could crush them both with one thought using your magnetic field. Not worth making a big deal out of. That coin was actually for those 2 in trench coats. An A and a B level together. Not sure they can take your basic attack when you're at your best. And your basic attack is that famous railgun move. But before you could stop smirking, you looked up and saw your uncle with a complicated expression. Your aunt and uncle were actually okay. Just asking with concern? But your aunt didn't care at all. Did you just show off again? She grabbed your ear right away and let loose with a barrage of words. You've even got sprayed in the face. You felt totally hopeless. At the same time, deep down you couldn't help thinking, fake boss, a bureau chief ruling the curfew. The real boss, getting your ear twisted by your aunt. After total chaos, you rubbed your teary eyes and started explaining that it's all because the medical bureau did nothing. So you have no clue how your parents died. That's why you want to investigate yourself. You also explained your power is strong now, and you're not afraid of anyone. Anyway, after a lot of persuading, you finally calmed them down. With their help, you put a magnetic marker on both of them and explained how it works. As long as they keep this marker, you'll instantly show up by their side if they're in danger. Just like that. But your aunt and uncle still seemed worried. So they gave you another lecture. Then your aunt went to cook. And your uncle started cleaning up the living room. You finally breathed a sigh of relief and hurried back to your room. Next morning, you snuck out early. Now that your aunt and uncle were settled, all that's left is your cousin. She's a college student right now. When she heard you'd arrived, she came running out of campus all excited and dragged you out to go shopping. You didn't mind at all. As long as you put the magnetic marker on her, you wouldn't have anything to worry about anymore. But the marker also takes a little time, so you could do whatever you wanted during that time. So you went shopping together with your cousin. On the way, you ran into your cousin's chubby-looking admirer. With just a few annoyed words, she got rid of him and told you his name is Lu Meng. The name fits him. He really is a jerk. No normal guy would ever try to chase 4 girls in his own dorm at the same time, but he actually does. Your cousin was chattering and complaining to you while dragging you around shopping. But halfway through your walk, you suddenly sensed a killing intent. You quickly pinpointed where it came from, so you casually waved your hand. And a needle that silently flew at you was sent back with 10 times the force. Your cousin saw your move and asked what you were doing. You replied with a double meaning, "There's a bug." She nodded, without any suspicion, and kept talking about what she'd said earlier. The needle you just sent back hit Linzu, who was hiding nearby. Turns out, after Linzu got fired yesterday, he got angrier the more he thought about it. He figured, at least he's an ability user. He's got some skills, and got screwed over big time. If he didn't get revenge, how would he survive after this? So, when he found out where you were today, he came right over with his needles to get back at you. Even if he couldn't kill you, he wanted to teach you a lesson. But as soon as he threw his needle, you just lifted your hand and sent it flying right back. When the needle pierced his heart, he still looked totally shocked. You didn't even give him a glance. Didn't care if he'd dodge or try to attack you again. To you, it was just like swatting away an annoying bug. And that's how Linzu died. Soon after you left, someone finally found her body. It caused panic on the street. People started shouting, "Someone's dead!" After shopping, you walked your cousin back to school. But on your way to the inner city, you ran right into that thug again. Seems like he was waiting for you. As soon as he saw you, he grinned and walked over. He threw his arm around your shoulder, acting like you were best friends.
He said, "Bro."
Don't rush off. Wherever you're going, I can give you a ride. You were a bit speechless. He doesn't even know where you're headed, but he still says it's on the way. So you just said, "You need something? If not, stay away from me." But he kept that silly grin, one arm around your shoulder, and with his free hand, he mimicked that waving move you used earlier shopping, and said, "There's a bug. So cool. How come I never thought of saying or doing something that awesome?" You know what? Miss Lin Zhu from the Lin family died today, right on Pedestrian Street. When you heard that, you got what he was really implying. Basically, he knew you killed her. Lin Zhu just rolled her eyes and calmly replied, "People die. That's life. No one ever knows if fate or tomorrow comes first. Maybe I'll be next. Maybe you will." What you really meant was, you want to bet if you or I won't see tomorrow first. Or you'll go first. The thug clearly got your meaning too, and fake shivered way too much, saying, "Don't scare me, man. I'm not that brave. Just want to ask a favor." What he meant was he'd pretend to give in for now, but really wanted to make a deal. You shook off his arm, looked him up and down, and got a little interested. Laughing, you asked, "So where'd you get the nerve to ask me for help?" What you meant was, you want to trade with me. Are you even worthy? But the thug thumped his chest and said, "Just listen first. Hear me out before you decide." You kept smiling and said nothing, waiting for him to go on. When it came to this, he seemed a bit embarrassed, scratched his head and said, "I want to be your sidekick. Just follow you from now on." Hearing that he wanted to be your sidekick, you were a little surprised, but just replied, "Not interested," and got ready to leave. When the thug saw you leaving, he panicked and quickly followed you, rambling on, "Bro, don't go. Yeah, maybe I look like this, but I have connections in the inner city. I've got resources. You've got strength. We'd be unstoppable together." But you ignored him and just kept walking. He rattled on behind you for a while, got a little irritated, and finally snapped, "Liu Li, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me?" As soon as you heard that, you turned around, your eyes cold as ice, and asked, "What did you just say?" The thug saw you stop and quickly corrected, "I said Liu Sun, and Brother Mo too. Communication is the bridge to our souls. If we want to be closer, just tell me anything on your mind, all right?" Hearing him say that, you were speechless again. This guy really is the ultimate definition of shameless. He takes it to the next level. Who even calls themselves son? But honestly, you kind of respect those who yield to kindness. This thug never bothered you, and out of nowhere offered to be your sidekick. You didn't have any real solution for this cheap guy. You're all about fighting fire with fire, but that just doesn't work on him. You can't really force someone to call themselves your minion anyway. So you just stopped walking, quietly expanded your electronic field, and started tapping into his brainwaves, using it like a lie detector for now. Then you looked at him and asked, "If you really have connections in the inner city, shouldn't it be easy to find a partner?" Why ask me? Turns out he started venting. "Brother Mo, you just don't know. It sucks. Sure, I have connections in the inner city, but that's only because I wave my family's banner. Even though I awakened an ability, my ability is useless. It can attack but not help. My family never paid much attention to me. I may act tough outside, but at home, anyone can boss me around."
Hearing all that,
You secretly noted on your mental list. The last thing he said was a lie. You then asked what his ability was. He honestly answered, he can enhance his six senses, making him see clearer, hear more sharply, and sense who he can mess with, and who he shouldn't. And that skill is exactly why he saw and heard everything that happened on Pedestrian Street that day. After hearing about his power, even you thought it was pretty useless, but still curiously asked, "So you think you can mess with me?" He gave a shy grin, just the opposite. "I think you're the last person to ever mess with. It's exactly because you're untouchable that I know you're truly powerful. If a powerful psychic comes to your home, there's really no chance for someone like me to recruit them. So I've been a loner all these years. Some people would beat me up just because they recruited a psychic. I had to put up with it. Hearing all this, you add another note to your notebook, and that last sentence is another lie. Once you figure out what he's getting at, you don't bother listening anymore. You cut him off and say, "I'm not interested in being your bodyguard." Didn't expect him to get serious at that. He insists it's not about that. I just hope that someday, if something happens, you could save my life. But when you hear that, you squint at him. That's a pretty big ask. So what do you think your life is worth? He nods. That depends if there's something you need from me. If there is, consider it an advance payment.
If not,
Then when you do save my life, I'll pay you the rest. You stare at him for a bit, until it makes him nervous. Then you suddenly smile. Actually, I do have something you can help with. I want to look into a psychic called Blade Hunter, and his activities for the past 3 years. The moment he hears that name, you can tell. He's obviously relieved. He can't even keep a serious face. Then he says, he knows the guy and wants to ask why you're checking on him. But you don't say much. If this guy's really capable, he can figure out your reason himself. So you just say you have a grudge and watch him leave. Then you tell the system to check Blade Hunter's location. The system sounds confused. Aren't you waiting for his info? You reply as you head home. We'll still have to wait. But it's always good to have a backup plan. What if we don't get any info at all? What if he tricks us? And if we find him ourselves, we won't need the information. We can just ask him directly. After the system searches, it finds Blade Hunter isn't in this city right now.
he might be in another city.
After hearing that, you're deep in thought. Blade Hunter is now the bodyguard for the capital's consortium boss. If it's a consortium, their business covers more than one city. This city's pretty small, just enough for self-sustainability. No way you can splurge here. Even though there are mutants and radiation outside, there still should be ways for cities to connect. Cities are definitely still connected somehow. If they weren't, how could there even be an alliance of intelligence? Thinking that, you decide to wait for the info. Better get home and prepare a bit. Set things up just in case. Meanwhile, the guy works pretty fast. Maybe he wants to show off. The next day, you get Blade Hunter's info he sent over. It's a pretty detailed file, listing his powers and knife skills. But that doesn't mean much to you. What you really want to know is, when the original host's parents died 2 years ago, where he was. So you asked the system, is there a way to confirm when he'll be back? We still need to talk to him face to face. See if we can talk things out. The system says, from what the file says, he was just chilling at home with his boss that night, nowhere near the scene. People's actions are hard to predict, unless it's part of the story. I really can't tell where they'll go next. You scratch your chin, thinking, guess I'll still have to have him dig up some info. This time it took a bit longer. But finally, he brings you something useful. The consortium boss will be back in 2 days. Blade Hunter will come along too.
But
When they travel between cities, they usually take an airship from the inner city. Both takeoff and landing are in the inner city. They never go through the outer city. So, to make sure you don't miss them, he invites you to hang out in the inner city for 2 days. That way, both of you will be there. So it'll be easier to find them. After thinking for a bit, you agree. There are some perks to going inner city now, after all. Not to mention, 2 days are enough for you to set up a shared magnetic field there. If a fight breaks out, with the field up, the inner city will be your turf instantly. And you don't have to worry about your home, since your uncle's family all carry your mark now. You've already set up backups at home. Plenty to keep your uncle's family safe. The thug got really excited after hearing you agreed. He said there's an auction tomorrow night. He'll take you along. You really didn't care either way. After all, you're just killing time. Just trying to build a shared magnetic field. Doesn't matter where you go. The next day, when you arrive at the auction, the thug brings you along, and you both walk into the brightly lit auction hall. You head into a private room owned by the Liu family. He even hands you a list of all the items for this auction. Then, acting all mysterious, he points at the very last item. He tells you, there are a bunch of inner city families here tonight. Those basic auction items before this aren't going to get their attention. This is what they're really here for. What he's pointing to is a necklace set with a strange gemstone. The gemstone was found by someone named Huang Lang, who got it by killing a really powerful mutant plant. Wearing it can boost your own powers out in the wilds. Mutant plants are a much bigger threat than mutant beasts. People usually just end up walking right into a plant's attack range off guard. And it's really hard to find the main body when it's hidden in all that foliage. Not to mention, the only way to kill it is to destroy its root. You nod, thinking it over. Looks like people here not only have powers, they've got all sorts of magical items too. But you wonder if someone without powers could actually use these items. Soon the auction gets started. The early items are mostly ladies or hunters bidding. The people upstairs in the booths barely make any offers. Even the auctioneers know the main event is at the end. So after going through the earlier items by the book, they bring in the top auctioneer. He introduces the last big item of the night. This lot starts with no minimum bid. Anyone can make an offer. As soon as the item is rolled out, the crowd all starts shouting their bids. Bidding jumps from 100,000 credits and up pretty fast. But the thug just grins, listening to all the offers from below. He's not in any rush to bid, because everyone in these booths came here tonight for that necklace. The people outside are just playing around. The real battle will be between the people in these rooms. Then it seems someone can't wait any longer and wants to end this game. One guy in a private room shouts a bid. He instantly goes up to 3 million. Then others in the booths jump in, and the price keeps going up. By the end of this round, it shot up to 7.3 million. The main hall crowd can't keep up. And finally, the thug calls out his bid. He goes straight to 8 million. Right after that, a voice from the diagonal booth calls out in a teasing tone. Well, isn't that young Master Liu? Wow, Liu's family really is loaded. Since you made an offer, I'll join in too. I'll bid 8 million. And 1 credit. The thug sees this and is about to shout 9 million. But you just grab an apple and shove it in his mouth, totally stopping what he was about to say. Then he looks at you and blurts out, "Are you crazy?" He raises it by just 1 credit. But you want to go up by 100,000? Instead, the thug throws the apple aside, furious, saying he's totally insulting me. You can't help but feel speechless. Who's insulting you? You think that's actually an insult. Then, you grab the thug to keep him from bidding again, and tell him, "Listen to me. Tonight, we're going to make that guy lose face. You in or not?" Hearing you say that, the thug's eyes light up right away. He nods hard. "Of course I'm in," he asks. "So what's the plan?" You give him a sly grin, tell him to make a bid. Just say 8 million. And 2 credits. The thug's eyes shift, and he instantly gets what you're up to. And smiling, he shouts 8 million and 2 credits. As soon as he does that, the diagonal booth bursts into laughter. Liu adds just 1 credit? You really went for it, huh? The thug hears them laugh and tries to argue you can add a single credit. So why can't I add 1 too? But before he can finish, a back booth door gets kicked open from the inside. A short guy walks out. He waves his hand grandly, with a larger-than-life attitude, and yells out 8 million and 3 credits. After he says that, the other booths start getting rowdy too. One after another, voices join in, but everybody only ups the bid by 1 credit each time. Now it's not just the booths. Even people in the main hall join the farce. But the young guy named Li in the diagonal room isn't laughing anymore. The thug goes after him while he's down and raises the price 3 more times by 1 credit. Then he looks at you, worried, asking, "Won't the auction house come after us for this?" You just shrug. What's it got to do with us? Why would they come after us? There are 2 kinds of people in here now for them to deal with. The one who started it, and everyone who joined in. If they're going to go after anyone, it's the guy who started adding just 1 credit. If they're coming for us, fine. But unless they kick out every single person who bid, they can't just punish us alone. The Liu family name isn't nothing around here. Seeing things spinning out of control, the auctioneer quickly tries to calm things down.
He asks everyone to chill out a bit.
And announces from now on, each new bid must be at least 10,000. Anyone who breaks the rule on purpose will be disqualified from this auction and kicked out. Hearing that, you give the thug a meaningful look, telling him now's his time to act like a real rich kid. The thug nods in understanding, opens the door and walks out, with an angry look on his face, and shouts in frustration, "You guys are definitely targeting us. How come when Li Liang's family bid just one credit? That's fine. But as soon as it's our family, you change the rules. Is your auction house getting too big for your own good? You only know how to pick on the weak, is that it? You think our Liu family isn't on the same level as the Li family?" With that, the short, tough guy from before starts stirring the pot too. They don't just think Liu is inferior to Li. They figure even Liu plus us Wang family still aren't as good as the Li family. Hearing that, the other booths start shouting too, putting pressure on the auction house. Of course, everyone knows what the thug is doing, but just saying a word or two might get rid of another competitor. Why not join in? The other booths quickly jump in to fan the flames. Then you better count our family in too. Yeah, why does Li Liang get to add just $1? The rule can't be changed. I'm adding just $1 this time. The Li family really is something else. Just one of them can outbid all of us. Hearing others in the rooms adding fuel to the fire, Li Liang, in the middle of it all, looked like he'd turned green in the booth. After all, those words were just way too harsh. The auctioneer saw things were about to get out of hand again, and quickly tried to clear things up. The bid increase limit was only to speed up the auction and save everyone's valuable time. There's absolutely no targeting anyone. But after he said that, the troublemaker chimed in again, all sneaky. Since that's the case, let the busy folks leave first. Those with time can keep bidding here. I could stay here bidding all night. I'll stick around too. As soon as he said that, everyone started making noise again. The scene turned into chaos. Now the auction was completely out of control. But if one item is bid on all night, dollar by dollar, does that mean every auction can add just $1 each time from now on? Every item would take a whole night to sell. And if you want to stop this, the auction house has to start at the root. After all, they really can't offend everyone. So the auction house quickly sacrificed the pawn to save the king. They had someone knock on Li Liang's booth door. Not sure what they said, but they invited him out. Right after, the auctioneer clapped, signaled for everyone to quiet down, and apologized to everyone. Today's problem was with our rules. We didn't act fast enough when the prices got weird. We didn't respond right away. So on behalf of the auction house, I apologize. We've already stopped Mr. Li Liang from joining this auction. From now on, each bid must be at least 10,000 more. Please everyone stick to the rules. With that, the auctioneer finished, and the bidding started again. Meanwhile, the troublemaker in the booth laughed out loud like he just won big. Li Liang always tries to mess with me. This time you finally lost to me. Finally, karma's real. But you didn't say much about it. Just told him to hurry it up. The sooner it's over, the sooner we leave. This small booth is really stuffy. And for the rest of the auction, no one caused trouble anymore. The necklace price kept rising. In the end, at 13.4 million, someone from another family took it. That price was already way more than it was worth. So the troublemaker didn't fight for it anymore. Auction over. The troublemaker and you walked out together. But he still seemed super happy about messing with Li Liang this time. He's telling you about it as you walk. When Li Liang got kicked out by the auction house, bet his face was priceless. But as soon as you turn the corner, you spot a gloomy Li Liang squatting by the wall, smoking. Li Liang saw the troublemaker, waved and called out 4 guys, and surrounded you both. Normally the troublemaker would have backed down right away. But now he wasn't scared at all. He just smiled and mocked Li Liang. Oh wow, isn't this the guy who made a scene and got kicked out of the auction, young Master Li? What's all this about? Is this some kiddie fight? How old are you now? Li Liang said in a low voice. Even kids can get hurt in a fight. You embarrassed me big time today, so you're not leaving without an explanation. The troublemaker casually stepped behind you, grinned, and said, "Then you got the wrong guy. I'm not smart enough to mess with you like that. This guy here is the main player. When you two are done talking, whatever this guy says, I'll do. I'll make it right, however you want." Hearing the rogue say that, Li Liang looked very disdainful. After all, the inner city's socialite circle was only so big, and everyone had grown up together. You were clearly a new face. In Li Liang's eyes, you were likely just an Esper recruited by the rogue from the outer city. But even if you became an Esper, you were still just a lackey. So Li Liang asked with a sneer, "Kid, you want to play hero, right?" You reached into your pocket and pulled out 2 coins, gave them a light flick, and tossed 1 coin behind you. The rogue, being very sensible, reached out and caught the coin in his hand while it was still in midair. Meanwhile, you held the other coin, looked at Li Liang with a smile, and said, "Did you see that? Stories. Just like that. I'll flick a coin to you in a moment. If you catch this coin, even if I tell the rogue to lie on the ground and lick your solace, I guarantee he will do it obediently." With that, you directly flicked the coin high with your finger, and sparks of electricity began to flash on your arm. As the coin gradually fell, the electric sparks increased. Realizing the power of this coin, a figure behind Li Liang shouted, "Get away!" and lunged forward, knocking the dazed Li Liang to the side. When the coin fell level with your hand, you flicked it out violently. Then there was a thunderous boom. With the boost of your electromagnetic force, that coin was like a cannonball, turning into a streak of white-hot light. It passed right through where Li Liang had originally been standing, leaving a deep trench. The power of this strike was like a map wiper, instantly turning the area ahead into ruins. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned in place. Finally, the rogue was the first to react. He grabbed your arm and said, "Big brother, Moyan, I knew you were fierce, but I didn't expect you to be this fierce. This attack of yours must have surpassed a rank, right?" You looked at the trench, formed by your railgun shot, and shook your head with some regret, thinking, it's only about 50 meters. Is it because the material of the coin can only sustain this distance before being vaporized? At this moment, the man who had jumped out earlier to knock down Li Liang stood up. He was wearing the captain's uniform of the bureau. He shouted at you with a mix of fear and feigned authority. "How could you launch such a powerful attack in the inner city?" You shrugged indifferently. "I just flicked some pocket change. I didn't expect him to be unable to catch even that."
Hearing this, the bureau captain couldn't help but roar.
"Do you have any idea how much damage you've caused? If you don't resolve this properly, the bureau will have you arrested." To this, you still maintained an extremely rude attitude, and in a tone used to scare children. You said to Li Liang, "Did you hear that? Resolve this properly, or be careful not to get locked up by the bureau. All right, let's go." After saying that, you left with the rogue. The bureau captain stood there, gritting his teeth and clenching his fists. But he didn't have the slightest intention of stopping you. He just watched you leave with his own eyes. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he didn't have the ability. In his past life, the original owner followed the rules too much, was cautious in everything, and very meticulous. And as a result, no one took him seriously. But after you arrived, you did as you pleased, doing whatever you wanted. Even if you tore down a street right in front of the bureau, they wouldn't dare do anything to you. The next day, just as you woke up, the system sent a prompt. "Host, Hunter is back." At the same time, the system located his position. He was currently drinking in a restaurant in the shopping district. When you saw this prompt, you immediately got energized. With a flash of electricity, through the shared magnetic field, you instantly appeared at the entrance of that restaurant in the shopping district. After locking onto Hunter's location, you walked straight over and sat in the seat across from him. Seeing someone sit at his table, Hunter thought you wanted to share the table. He told you to find another table and not to disturb him. But you tapped on the table, indicating you weren't there to share the table. "I'm specifically here for you."
Hearing this,
Hunter also looked up. After taking a close look at you, he said, "I don't know you." You nodded. "I don't know you either. But you should know Yang Ke, right?" Yang Ke was the name of the original owner's father? Hunter seemed a bit confused by the name, but he quickly thought of something. He asked, "You know Yang Ke? What are you to Yang Ke?" You simply replied coldly, "Not important." Then activated your electromagnetic field, preparing to take action directly. After all, you didn't want to explain your relationship with the original owner's father to an irrelevant person. So you continued to ask, "Can you tell me how he died?" Hearing this question, Hunter seemed to fall into thought. In the next second, A blade light slashed directly toward your neck. Hunter also showed a triumphant smile. That's how he died. It must be said that Hunter was indeed a master of the blade. This strike was very fast, and there was no warning when he moved. If it were anyone else, they might not have reacted before their neck was sliced through. But you didn't even dodge. You just sat there. Hunter's blade stopped at your neck, as if the skin on your neck was the hardest diamond. Hunter's strike didn't even scratch your skin. Through the trajectory of Hunter's strike, the system analyzed the scar from this blade stroke and found a 93% similarity to the wounds on the original owner's parents. Getting this result, you flicked Hunter's blade with your hand. His blade instantly snapped into two pieces, but the broken blade didn't fall to the ground. Instead, it floated in the air. You casually picked up a piece of the broken blade and stabbed it directly into Hunter's right shoulder. After disabling Hunter's right arm, you directly grabbed his neck in a chokehold, lifting him off the chair. In a cold tone, you said, "It looks like it was you who killed him." Seeing that his sneak attack failed, and his right arm was instantly disabled, Hunter already knew the gap in your strength. He gave a bitter laugh and said, "That's right. I killed him. Kill me or torture me. Do as you please." Hunter admitted it very readily, but his brain waves gave you a completely different feedback. He was lying. But that didn't matter, because the trajectory of Hunter's strike just now proved that even if he wasn't the killer, he was definitely involved. At least he knew the clues. So you lifted him up directly and said in a certain tone, "I know, you weren't the one who killed them. It doesn't matter if you don't admit it now. You'll tell me sooner or later." With that, you once again leaned on the shared magnetic field. A flash of light. You disappeared with the Hunter into the restaurant. The people in the restaurant who witnessed this scene were all frozen in shock. In the end, it was the owner who reacted first. He took out his communicator and contacted the post house bureau. That night, you brought the Hunter to the slums outside the city. You began to torture him brutally. You beat him until only half his body was intact. The other half was nearly shattered. Then you let the rain pound on his face, making him feel like he was being ground down, bit by a power tool. But as long as you refuse, he can't even die if he wants to. Eventually, under your torment, he finally confessed what happened that day. It turned out the original host's parents really weren't killed by him. The real killer was in the capital. The son of a consortium boss, the Hunter's apprentice, Yuzi. Yuzi never liked studying as a child. He was into weapons and fighting. And the Hunter, while serving as a bodyguard for Yuzi's father, Yu Chengming, gave Yuzi some pointers on the side. Over a few years, Yuzi unexpectedly picked up some real skills from the Hunter. And the reason for the murder was simply because he was in a bad mood that day. After running away from home,
He bumped into the original host's parents on the street.
and just casually slashed them.
To him,
It was like killing a random stranger for fun. After figuring all this out, you were left speechless. Then you told the system to locate Yuzi. The system quickly pinpointed Yuzi's villa. But before you could reach the villa area, you suddenly sensed the surroundings getting quiet. The next second, a few crossbow bolts suddenly shot out from somewhere. You instantly unleashed your electromagnetic field, pinning the bolts in midair. And as you scanned those directions, they were already completely empty. Seeing this, you couldn't help but sneer inwardly. They were treating the city like a jungle, and you like prey. But you had no patience for guerrilla warfare with them. If they thought you would hold back, then they were dead wrong. The attackers thought they were well hidden, but you didn't even bother to search for them. Instead, you unleashed your full electromagnetic power, like a bomb going off on the spot. The destructive energy instantly leveled all buildings within 20 meters around you. After the explosion died down, a dark figure suddenly darted out from the ruins, limping away into the distance. You flicked a coin toward the fleeing shadow. The coin turned into a white flash and shot out instantly. Suddenly, a figure wielding a blade appeared, striking the white flash formed by the coin. He merely staggered back a few steps, but blocked the coin's white flash. Then, with a hint of arrogance, he taunted, "That's supposedly level 1 attack strength. Isn't that impressive after all?" And because of his strike, that limping figure from before had already gotten far away. But you just laughed at this. It was just knocking away a coin I flicked. Look at you, so proud. All right, the rest of you can stop hiding. All of you, come out. As soon as you finished speaking, over a dozen figures jumped out from all directions, instantly surrounding you in the center. At this moment, one of them tossed out a projection device. An image of a middle-aged man, sitting behind a desk with a grim expression appeared. You recognized him at a glance as Yu Zi's father, Yu Chengming, boss of the Capital Consortium. He spoke in a low voice. No need to waste words. Kid, from now on you're a stray dog, and you'll always think of me whenever it rains. You'll never forget me. After all, what you're up against is real power. Oh, I almost forgot. You won't even get to be a stray dog. Tonight is your last night alive. With those words, Yu Chenming behind the desk waved his hand and turned off the projection. Sitting across from him at the time was none other than Director Zhao of the Post House Bureau. But after hearing Yu Chengming's threat, you didn't react at all. Still keeping that cheerful smile, you glanced around the area. It turned out that the Post House Bureau might officially fall under the Supreme Alliance. But after all, it's located in every city. The relationships among the city's various family powers are extremely complicated. And naturally, the Post House Bureau is a complicated place as well. Director Zhao's collaboration with Yujia has gone on for a long time. He'd already had his suspicions for a while. He knew who really killed the original host's parents. But with personal interests at stake, he was never going to send people to investigate the case. And in his previous life, except for one time losing control of his powers, the original host never really showed his true strength. So neither Director Zhao nor Yujia ever took this little bug seriously. Yu family even runs a business, specializing in selling attractive female espers. The espers they sold all hate them to the core, like the original host. They were forgotten right after being sold. That's probably why he's always pushing the Bureau of Medical Management to investigate the killer, yet still manages to survive in Yu family's hands. After you took Blade Hunt away, the boss of that restaurant called the Bureau. Now that Director Zhao is connecting everyone, the Yu family's learned your identity and knows about your parents' case. They're prepared ahead of time, so they have a reasonable explanation. You glance at the espers around. None below a class. The Bureau can't find a dozen powerful people at this level. Adding the Yu family makes it even tougher. It's likely Director Zhao is using the killer who murdered Lin Zhu as a lead, dragging the Lin family into this alliance too. Maybe even the Li family, because when you messed with Li Langang, a squad leader from the Bureau showed up. Afterward, they compiled your info. So it's totally possible. But none of that matters now. It's good more people came this time. Perfect chance to clean up everything at once. You stop holding back your power. Open up your electromagnetic and magnetic fields, and activate your backup plan set up at your uncle's place. Lightning flashes silently, and a shadow quietly appears. That's your electromagnetic clone. Because no matter how perfect the defenses or traps are, nothing beats being there yourself. Now with no worries, you control the magnetic field and slowly float up. This time, you're not playing with coins. You're about to try Electromagnetic Railgun 2.0. Just right. You want to see how strong their so-called power really is. Under the shared magnetic field, even though you're in the inner city, it's still your turf. You reach out into the ruins around you and pull out 20 steel bars. This time, your arms don't light up. Instead, the whole area sparks with electricity. One steel bar turns into blazing white light, way more powerful than those coins. You fire it at the shadow that first attacked you, blasting out hard. Seeing this, the guy with the knife feels his scalp go numb, because he's right between you and that shadow.
Now,
He's got the front row seat to a railgun attack. Even though his instincts say to dodge, he remembers his mission. So he steels himself and rushes in. He shouts loudly, powers up, and leaps into the air, slashing at the white flash. Two massive energies explode on impact. The fierce recoil slams him down from midair, and even leaves a deep crater on the ground. Meters deep at that, the steel bar you launched gets sliced by him, but only gets slightly knocked off course, barely missing the shadow, then smashes hard to the ground, like a meteor strike. The moment your super railgun hits, a powerful shockwave spreads out. Once the dust clears, there's nearly a 50-meter crater. You look at the knife wielder.
And laugh, saying, "Good job."
You actually managed to slice my steel bar. So now I'll fire 3. How will you handle that? As soon as you say it, the knife guy's face changes drastically. But before he can react, the 3 steel bars by your side turn into 3 flashes, shooting out instantly, blasting toward him. Seeing this, Captain Chunyu of the Bureau shouts, "Everyone move! Let's finish this quick." Then he draws a straight-blade sword, raises his left hand, crosses it over his chest. A shield made of light pops up in his left hand. Others follow his command and unleash their own abilities. First, 2 defensive espers, with Chunyu protect the knife guy, taking the hit from those 3 steel bars. Though the shock knocks them all to one knee, their shield holds firm together while they defend. Suddenly, several big trees appear. Branches grow wildly. Crazy winds whip up in the sky. A mini tornado takes shape. The ground cracks open. Hot magma spews from the fissures. All aimed at you in midair. All at once. It's like everyone shows off their skills, each using their powers. Some attack, others defend. And all present are top-tier espers, totally familiar with their abilities, never messing up their teammates. Just now, after splitting your first steel bar, the Lin family esper Lin climbs out of the big crater, thanks those nearby, then nervously looks up at you. But there's no time to think. He quickly calms himself, then charges up again with his knife. Red light from the blade grows as he swings, forming a massive blade shadow, slamming down at you. You counter every move, showcasing the flawless crowd control of your electromagnetic power, without missing a beat. Just a wave of your hand. The magnetic field around the tornado churns wild, shredding the tornado apart. Right after, 2 more steel bars turn to white light and shoot out, ripping through the trees trying to grab you, shredding them instantly. Then you clasp both hands, shout loudly, and tear the ground wide open. The fissure with magma expands. Even more magma erupts, like a volcano exploding, devouring nearby houses. Seeing this, Chan, you can't help but yell, "Damn. Hurry and control that magma. This is the inner city. You'll destroy the whole thing." The esper controlling magma hears this, and instantly tries his powers at max, hoping to contain all the magma. But magma keeps pouring from underground, still surging toward houses. Right then, Lin's giant red blade gleam swings down from above like splitting a mountain, cuts right through your electromagnetic defenses, splitting you in 2. Seeing this, even Lin himself is stunned.
His swing was strong.
But this result clearly wasn't expected. Suddenly, Chunyu shouts, "Don't relax. He's not dead yet." Sure enough, the next second, your body turns into 2 lightning bolts, flashes 100 meters away, crackles back together, and you're whole again right in front of them. Chunyu warns his teammates nearby, "Be careful of his counterattack." But when you heard that, you couldn't help but laugh. Then you said, "Trust me, what you should worry about isn't yourselves." And what you meant was clearly something else entirely. After all, these people are the strongest from each family or faction. This is the best team they could put together. Still the same question. Why go head-to-head with a faction's strongest? Why fight them directly? Some people, when dealing with a faction, always like to kill from the top down. Start by taking out the strongest. But that's clearly not how you think. You go from the bottom up. Because if you start with the strongest and lose, then you gain nothing. But if you work your way up, even if you lose to the last strong one, at least you've wiped out the weak ones. Since these families have already decided to join the fight, that means they're standing with Yu Chengming on the so-called side of power. Take Ling Jiyu for example. When he joined this battle, was that really his own decision? Obviously not. A leader pushed to the front by a family like this doesn't have a personal stance. The family puts all their resources into building a strong one, and the strong go outside to take resources. But it's not all for themselves. They have to give back to their family. Then the family uses those resources to train the next strong one. They made Ling Jiyu. Lin Jiyu got into trouble out there and got killed by someone like you. His family says that was his own business. They pretend Lin Jiyu has nothing to do with the family. Then take what Lin Jiyu earned and use it to mold another strong one, Lin Dao. On the surface, Lin Dao has nothing to do with Lin Jiyu. He never even talks about revenge for Lin Jiyu. But guess what? Does anyone in the Lin family really have nothing to do with Lin Jiyu? Wouldn't Lin Dao still wait for a chance and then go after the person who killed Lin Jiyu whenever he can? If Lin Dao gets killed in return, his family could say again that it was just Lin Dao's choice. Then they'd just make up someone new again, right? For someone like you, who's dared to challenge Yu Chengming for power, when people like you lose, do you think the ones in power will let you live? Clearly not. So winner takes all. Losers. Death is the price they pay. So right after you said that, a bunch of glowing rings appeared in your hand. The rings kept getting smaller, until just a single point of light was left. That was a high-energy electron, compressed 10,000 times. You just flicked it with your finger. And the electron didn't even leave a trail. It appeared right above the Lin family's villa. And the next second, it just exploded. Ling Jiyu stared at the blast, a bad feeling rising inside, and screamed at you. What did you do? What the hell did you do? With pity in your voice, you smiled and said, exactly what you think. Too bad for you. You're an orphan now. As soon as you said that, Ling Jiyu went insane. He screamed he was going to kill you and started swinging at you like crazy. But this time, he couldn't even get through your field. You stood in the air, hands open wide, as dozens of tiny glowing dots lit up behind you. All of them were high-energy electrons, compressed again. 5 of those lights disappeared instantly. And then, a huge explosion sounded from a spot in the city. The mushroom cloud was 5 times bigger than the one over the Lin family. Watching all this, the guy controlling the tornado just collapsed and fell to the ground. All the color left his face at once, because that was in his family's direction. Seeing that, Chan Yu shouted furiously, "Stop! You're a top-level fighter too. You should know how to act like one. We're right here. If you've got the guts, then face us head on. Why won't you follow the rules?" You yelled back, just as angry. Rules? What rules did you Z follow when he killed my parents? You at the courier bureau knew who the killer was, but did nothing. Letting him run free, is that your so-called rule? You all ganged up, setting traps to ambush me. Was that your rule too? Screw your rules. With that, you fired an electromagnetic cannon, blasting it right at the Esper below. This time, the shot wasn't a steel ball or a piece of rebar. It was a splitting atomic nucleus releasing energy, a small nuclear warhead. With the blast of this small nuclear warhead, Chan Yu reacted first and crushed a jade pendant without hesitation. On the field, a nearly solid barrier appeared instantly. He immediately pushed his abilities to the max, laying down more layers of shields. Although the shield from the jade pendant only lasted 1 second during the explosion, it still bought them precious time to react. So all the supernaturals activated their powers almost at once. When Chan Yu's shield broke, the other 2 defense-type supernatural shields were already up. Next, more layers appeared inside, like stacks of wood, broken stone and dirt, and thick layers of ice wrapped at the very core. The healers went all out, instantly draining their energy to heal everyone. Now, every second felt like a whole century. Finally, when the blast ended, everyone collapsed from exhaustion. But the crisis had only just passed. Chan Yu quickly showed his battlefield skills, not letting his guard down at all. Instead, he kept a wary eye on you. But strangely, he didn't see you attack right after. Instead, you crossed your arms, watching them with a weird smile. Even you were surprised. They actually survived. Even though the fission core you threw wasn't anywhere near a ton, it still counted as a nuke. And yet they managed to survive, which is impressive. So you looked at them, smiling, saying, "Congrats, you unlocked an achievement. Tanking a nuke with your bodies. Now, what about my second one? How will you handle that?" Turns out nukes come in 2 types, fission and fusion. A fission nuke is an atomic bomb. A fusion nuke is a hydrogen bomb. As everyone knows, any nuclear explosion produces massive radiation. There's also a fun fact about purification. Atomic bomb radiation can be cleared in a brutal way by detonating a hydrogen bomb right after. At first, You thought Uncle's family would keep living here, so you made sure your fission nuke wasn't too big, didn't want to hit the outer district, and then planned to use a hydrogen bomb for cleanup. This was your plan all along, since you didn't want a radiation source left in the inner city. But you didn't expect these people could survive an atomic bomb. But since they lived, might as well let them evolve together. So, you sent them a hydrogen bomb without hesitation. After this explosion, the crater was even deeper. Only scattered, scorched remains lay everywhere, with some bodies still intact, showing they'd tried to resist. But at the same scale, a hydrogen bomb is 4 times stronger than an atomic bomb. So their defenses were useless? Then you restored your electromagnetic body, looking at the huge crater, and gave a cold laugh, waving your hand, to send out all the high-energy electrons behind you. Everyone who joined the assault on your family got their share. Not a single one missed. Some got 3, some got 5. But just as you prepared to detonate the high-energy electrons, a weak, raspy voice called out, "Yan Mo, with your power, you could have chosen a better way for revenge. Why do you have to do this?" So many people in the inner city were living peacefully, but look around you. What have you done? You turned your head, confused, and saw Chan Yu was the one speaking. At this point, most of him was charred, and yet he was still alive. Using his last bit of strength, he shouted, "Over 100,000 people live in the inner city. Just because of your sense of injustice, your own resentment, you messed up everyone else's lives. Doesn't your conscience hurt?" But after hearing Chen Yu's guilt trip, you shot back, "Is all this my responsibility? Didn't you guys do anything wrong? When you doesn't showed up, I decided to kill you all. So why couldn't you just let me do it? If all of you had just died, the inner city would have stayed stable for its 100,000 citizens, living peacefully. Why couldn't you face death willingly to protect the city's safety? Maybe afterwards, you guys could have been called heroes." After your reverse guilt trip, he grew silent and heavy.
His remaining life force
Couldn't support more debate with you. But you weren't letting him go. You grabbed him and flew up. Your electromagnetic field was blocking bullets non-stop. And those families surrounded by high-energy electrons were firing like crazy at you, fighting desperately. You pointed at the gun-blazing families around and told Chun Yu, "Look, your people are all dead. Only a few families left. From the start till now, if they'd let me kill them all, the city would never have ended up like this. For the sake of stability for over 100,000 city folk, why couldn't they just swallow a little pride? Why not accept some unfairness? I really don't get these people. Why do they insist on making things this messy? Making everyone suffer with them? Don't they feel guilty?" Hearing your reverse guilt trip, Chan Yu struggled to say, "You're so absurd." You just gave him a nasty smile and tossed him down. You didn't care if he found you absurd, because whatever you said was truth, and Chen Yu dropped from the sky. His already charred waist snapped, so he could only lay there, quietly waiting for death. And while he waited, he seemed to hear something in the sky, a few muttered words he didn't understand. Art's explosion. Or maybe, how many floors can a bag of rice carry? Forget it, whatever. Let's just blow it all up. Then surround sound explosions erupted. Chan Yu realized those were the blasts of all your high-energy electrons. This battle not only wiped out all the level 1 supernaturals attacking you, but their entire families got the same fate. Chan Yu could only smile bitterly and knew they'd lost for sure. Winners take everything. The losers lose it all. After clearing everyone in your way, you looked at the tallest building in the inner city. Now it was time to deal with Yu Chengming and Yu Zi, the father and son duo. At that moment in Yu Chengming's office, with a flash of electricity, you appeared inside. Yu Chengming and Director Zhao both look grim. Yu Zi is shaking all over, but he's still trying to act calm. First, you greeted the person you knew best. "Oh, isn't this Director Zhao? An old acquaintance. Look at me. This could get you years behind bars today." Director Zhao hasn't even finished forcing a smile at the first part, and he almost choked on the second half when you weren't here yet. He used this stuff to threaten the original guy easily. But now, even though he's thinking he could execute you 800 times, He doesn't dare say it out loud. So he can only speak softly, saying, Student Mo, no need to be so angry. Look, you've already vented. How about we just sit down and talk for a bit? But you, just now, got news back from your electromagnetic double. The double killed 2 espers near your uncle's house. The squad is from the Special Abilities Department. You know they're Director Zhao's people. No doubt Zhao sent them. Didn't expect it to get this far. And they're still trying to grab your uncle's family, to threaten you. Good thing you left an electromagnetic double early. So you step closer to Yuzi and say coldly no. Who said I'm calm now? Those outside are just clowns. The real deal is sitting right here. Yu Chenming looks dark and gloomy. You think I'll just stand by and watch you kill my son? You turn to Yu Chengming, since that's how it is. How about I kill you first, then your son? That way you won't have to watch him die. Honestly, you didn't have to rush. You'll die too. You're next. Yu Chengming takes a deep breath and speaks slowly. It's easy for you to kill us, but what happens after we're dead? You've wiped out the ones running the inner city and controlling its resources. How will this city keep going after that? What if there's no food? What about people with no jobs? That's the reason we exist here. If you kill all of us, even Supreme Alliance won't let you go. But you just shake your head coldly. You know, it's actually hard for me to kill you. Really hard. You have no clue how strong I am. I have to be super careful not to shatter this whole city. Saying that, you snap your fingers. A surge of electromagnetic force instantly wipes out Director Zhao's brainwaves. Then you go on, see. I could just wipe out the brainwaves of everyone in Supreme Alliance and turn them into vegetables. Or tear open Earth's shield, let the solar wind hit straight on. Or flip the planet's magnetic pole and wipe out all life here. Or even create a black hole right here and make this planet vanish. See, I didn't do any of those crazy things. All I want is to kill you and your son. I've held myself back so much already. If Supreme Alliance still wants to mess with me, then I'll just have to invite Supreme Alliance and everyone helping them to die together. After you finish speaking, Yu Chengming looks at Director Zhao sitting across from him, who's already glazed over, and he goes quiet. When you stood in front of him, he realized he's lost any way to control you. All the strongest espers have already been wiped out by you. Even if every remaining esper he has gathered in this room, they still couldn't save him. His only bargaining chip left is hoping you'll care about running the city.
But now,
You clearly don't care. After a while, Yu Chengming finally speaks in a hoarse voice. I have one last request. Can you leave my son a whole body? You refuse without hesitation. No, not even close. Nothing will be left of him. With that said, you directly raised your hand and manipulated the magnetic field to envelop Yu, forcing him to watch helplessly as his right arm gradually vanished. Finally, it was crushed into particles by the magnetic field, utterly annihilated. Not even ashes remained. Yu screamed in agony, struggling to draw his long blade with his remaining left hand. He swung it wildly at you. Raving, he said, "Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you do this to me? I was born with supreme power and status. I was born to be the protagonist of this world. And you, this nobody who came out of nowhere. You..." But before he could finish, the blade in his hand was already coiled up by your magnetic field like a tape measure, rolled into a ball. Now he was just holding the hilt, thrusting a coiled up ball towards you. You reached out and grabbed his neck, staring at him. You couldn't help but let out a few eerie, hey, chuckles. You say you're the protagonist of this world? How laughable. With that, you simply threw Yuzi's body straight out the window. While he was still suspended in midair, you clapped your hands together fiercely. Instantly, he was crushed and shattered like foam. But in this process, there was no blood, no severed limbs. Even the last remnants of his brainwaves were smoothed away by you. A gust of wind blew by. Indeed, he left nothing behind. Since you're the protagonist, then in the protagonist's life, encountering a powerful villain is only reasonable, right? Witnessing this scene, Yu Chengming cried out in grief. Unable to hold back his old tears, you then turned to look at Yu Chengming, repeating his earlier line back at him. From now on, every time it rains, You'll think of me. You'll always remember me. After all, what you've encountered is pure power. Oh, right. You won't get that chance. Tonight is your death. As you finished speaking, Yu Chenying felt his heart begin to swell, beating faster and faster,
He clutched his chest, gasping for breath in agony.
trying to slow his racing heart. But it had no effect. Finally, his heart burst open inside him with a bang. And Yu, after a clap of thunder, vanished from the spot. 2 months later, you appeared at the Liu family residence where Liu Meng was. Sitting on the sofa, you were engrossed in reading a physics textbook, but a gentle-looking woman kept hovering around you, constantly striking suggestive poses, openly flaunting her attractive figure. This woman was named Zhao Qian. She wasn't actually from the Liu family. The reason for her attentiveness was that after that big battle, everyone knew the ruler of this city had changed. She thought her looks were decent, and if she could hook with you during her visit to the Lius, she could leap straight to the top of society. But the idea was good. Reality was harsh. After Zhao Qian left your room, she couldn't help but complain. I showed him so much, and he didn't even react. Any other man would have pounced by now. Is he gay or something? Just then, Liu Meng happened to walk by. Using his psychic ability, he precisely caught Zhao Qian's complaint. He pondered for a moment, a strange smile curling at the corner of his mouth. He strode over to Zhao Qian, and with an asterisk whoosh asterisk, took off his shirt, revealing his flabby body. Then he bent his arms, striking a bodybuilder pose.
He said, "Hey there, girl."
Come on, jump on your big brother. Zhao Qian was startled, involuntarily taking 2 steps back. Seeing no reaction, Liu Meng asked with some confusion, Big brother's shown you so much. Why aren't you pouncing yet? Then he put on an expression of sudden understanding. Oh, I get it. You're gay.
Hearing this, Zhao Qian's
Face flushed bright red. She glared at him fiercely, then turned and left without looking back. But given Liu Meng's thick skin, that glare did 0 damage. He just chuckled mischievously, put his shirt back on, and hummed a tune as he entered your room. Then he exclaimed in an exaggerated tone, Lord Mo, your esteemed presence graces us, truly bringing honor to my humble abode. You put down the book, looking at him with a smile. You knew everything that happened outside. Indeed, even dealing with a female flirt. Liu Meng is the expert. Then, you stated directly, I came to say goodbye. I'm planning to travel for a while. How's the takeover of the Capital Consortium going? Anything else you need me to handle? Liu Meng quickly said no, since you'd already dealt with the Supreme Alliance. The biggest obstacle, they could handle the rest. It turned out that 2 months ago, after you wiped out the family group led by the Yus, the Supreme Alliance sent a team. They insisted on having a discussion with you, so you discussed with them physically. The result was, the Supreme Alliance tacitly accepted what happened here. Led by Liu Meng's family, other small families from the inner city invested, and together they swallowed the Capital Consortium, a huge prize, continuing to run the city. Of course you'd considered handing the consortium to your uncle and aunt, but they were just ordinary people before. Even if they took that position, without a team, without the ability, they couldn't possibly steer such a large ship. Business is like war, rather than forcing them to control the consortium, only to be swallowed or sidelined. It's better for them as it is now, holding shares, getting paid dividends monthly. Now they have money. They can do anything they want. That's good enough. And Liu Meng, a playboy for years, was never groomed as a successor. His business skills were still not favored by his family, but now he's the link to you. So you've indirectly fulfilled that old promise. After you killed the Yu father and son, the system actually popped up, the mission completion prompt. But this world still had the original host's family, so you didn't rush to leave. Now things are on track, so you want to go see other parts of this world. Hearing you were leaving, Liu Meng hesitated, asking, how long will you be gone? You didn't give a specific time, as you weren't sure yourself, so you casually replied, short, 3 to 5 months. Long, 7 or 8 years. Hard to say. I'll go where the road takes me. But before leaving, you were still a bit uneasy. Turning to look at Liu Meng, you warned, I asked you to look after my uncle's family, not to hit on my sister. If you dare make a move on her, I'll render your fat into lard." Liu Meng smiled nervously, saying, "How could I?" "Absolutely not. Your sister is like my granddad. I wouldn't dare be disrespectful." "You didn't say more, just replied, 'You'd better not.' Then you left directly. Afterwards, you traveled to different cities, experienced different cultures. You even ventured into the wilderness, battling powerful mutated beasts and plants. But you didn't clean up these troubles for this world. After all, years later, this world might just give birth to a real protagonist. Now the mission is complete, and you've seen enough of this world. It's time for you to leave. So you directly chose to end the task, returning to the system space, ready to begin the next world's mission."